I'm so excited for this. We have our Think, Learn, Succeed book. Carmela recommended this, and she's going to be leading us through a training today. We're going to be having a conversation about some of just the highlights of this book and how you can apply it to your life. This is Carmela. Hello. So nice to have you here. Thank you for teaching us and being here today and sharing your time with us.
So excited to be here. Thank you guys for having me. This is an incredible book. If you guys don't already know Dr. Caroline Leaf, she is awesome. The principles that she's taught throughout the decades has just been so life-changing for me and a lot of my community. And so if you haven't read this book, but you're here, so glad you're here. You're gonna have a lot of gold nuggets as we continue this conversation. So tune in and excited that you're here to join us.
Yes, awesome. So take us away,
Yeah,
Carmela.
we're excited. We're excited.
Awesome. Awesome. So this book has 3 sections, very meaty. So what we're going to do is we're just going to power through the first section because it's just an introduction of really how our bodies were made, how intelligent we are, and how we're able to really absorb information at such fast speeds. But really society or whatever you want to call it, the world has just kind of trained us to think that, that's not for us or that's too advanced. And that kind of limiting belief is just so not how we were made. And so if there was 1 or 2 things that you could take away from this conversation, it's that you are more powerful than you believe. And if you just allow God to just speak to you through our words, through these lessons, you will see how magnificent you are and that you were made for so much more. And so, like I said, 3 sections of this book. We're going to power through the first section. And then the second section, we're just going to kind of park there because that's when it gets really exciting. That's when we talk about our gift profiles and how everyone has a very specific way of learning, but you're not married to just one. As you learn and you grow as a human being, it changes. And sometimes you have a few dominant ones. And so you're a transient being, and that's awesome. And the last one is just a lot of science. And so for those nerds who want to unpack that, you're more than welcome to. We're going to talk about some of it, but the main thing that I really want to focus on is section 2. So
Awesome.
if you have your book, you can open it with us. You don't have to take notes as we go along, and just feel free to just really write down these principles. So the first thing that I want to talk about is that really a lot of people are focused so much on the physical materialism, but I would challenge you and say, and really, research this. Materialism wasn't introduced into the world until just 350 years ago. Think about how old the earth is, the universe, just 350 years ago. Before then, in ancient times, people knew and believed with everything in them that they were spiritual beings first with a soul and they had a body. And the laws of gravity and science started to advance us. And so that's when really materialism was flipped on its head. And now we're just so obsessed with the physical. And so we are 99.99999% spiritual, 1% physical, but both ends are just as important. We just need to understand that as much as we focus on the physical, we have to also address the non-physical, the spirit, the soul, the quantum. And that's where science and spirituality and your soul merges in this conversation. And so this book really teaches us the power of organized thought, that we are to be victors of our thoughts because we have so much control over it, and that we are not victims. And I have been absolutely succumbed to this before, where I just kind of let every thought in my mind flow and I've believed all of it. And I'm just kind of like, this is how it's going to be. And I'm just kind of going through life. Well, that's not how God made us. That's not how God made you. God made you to be in partnership with Him, to give you autonomy and choice of how you want to manifest your highest reality. So that's really kind of how she starts this book. And it's right then and there, I'm just like, wow, that's so incredible and so mind-blowing. And so section 1, chapter 1, This is so awesome. And I want to know what your thoughts about it are, Katelyn and Debbie, if you guys have any. When
Mm.
she says there is nothing in your body, in your brain, in your neural pathways that's wired with fear. There's nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, what? And think about all these like horrific things in the world and that just kind of like capture our attention. That's just causes us so much, negativity. But that's not how God made you. You are literally wired for
Mm.
love. Every neural pathway was created for peace. And when fear comes in, your survival brain kicks in, right? Because your survival brain is older than your prefrontal cortex. And your prefrontal cortex doesn't fully form until you're about 25 years old. And if you have some kind of neurodivergence, it actually doesn't form until you're about your mid 30s. And so when your survival brain kicks in, because it's the body's job to keep us alive, then we have adrenaline running, and then we're
Mm.
trying to survive. And so we weren't made
Mm.
to be in that state for long periods of time. We were made to survive and then go back to homeostasis.
Mm. I'd love to just say that is so right on. Thank you for just emphasizing this because you can see it in a child. I feel like, God wants us to have childlike faith. And when you see a child who's really secure, they are loud. They are not loud in an obnoxious way, but they're confident, they're loud, and they haven't learned to fear. And I feel like that's such a beautiful picture of being like a child and having faith like a child that hasn't already had negativity poured into them or fear poured into them, but all that's spoken into them is life and faith and hope and love. And I love it that we are able to change our thoughts. We are able, we're not, what did you say, like subjective or being controlled by it. The Bible says take captive, every thought captive. So because we were told something as a child or whatever our beliefs are, we can retrain that. And it's
Right.
so cool having this book. And I think it's been fun having it right here when I take a phone call and kind of looking at it and going, oh, I don't need to think this way. I can think this way and then take the phone call. It's so empowering and beautiful and amazing. Even before going on a Zoom, it's like you could be like, oh, what are people going to think? Blah, 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 that negative, gross, icky. But I can go, oh, this is my mission. This is our mission to share what is working, and it's free. It's amazing.
It's
Right.
free. And what this really made me, that we're wired for love, it stood out to me so much because I learned this in like a physical way when I first learned about muscle testing. And I learned that our bodies are naturally designed to actually be pulled. We're gravitating towards truth and love and goodness. And you can see this with muscle testing and the sway test. Just
Mhm.
standing still, straight up. If you say the word love, you are going to fall forward. If you say the
Mhm.
word hate, you're going to fall backwards. But we've been so hijacked. When you look around, I mean, it's so by design that our brains have been hijacked. I think people know this in the news, in the entertainment industry, in everything that's just so broadcast to us. It seems like we have been attacked very strategically.
Yeah. Right. Right. And it's time to wake up to our natural design.
Yeah.
God made us for
Yeah.
love, and we were made to be in a state of love for long periods of time. And I think I think it's boredom that we have to tolerate, and we'll get to that later in in
Mm.
in the later sections. And when I say boredom, I mean the what the world identifies as boredom, but really it's creative thinking. It's really in those
Mm.
thinker moments when we get the best ideas. When you think about
Yes.
gosh, was it Newton, Einstein? Man, I'm so bad that I'm even quoting that. I don't know who it was. It was one of them that was sitting in the meadow, and one of their greatest ideas, just sitting in the meadow, touching grass, and they were looking out. I think it was Einstein, and then they came up with the idea. Einstein came up with the idea of EMC squared, or
Mhm.
just like a really big idea. I was watching a documentary, and I think it was him. But it's these thinker moments where now we're now pushing to chapter 2, the thinker mindset,
Mm-hmm.
is when really God gives us the best ideas, and creativity is a sign of intelligence. And
Mm-hmm.
when your mind is constantly hijacked by people's other ideas, entertainment, and you're just being numb, then you're not really practicing your muscle, your thinker mindset muscle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is really your own intelligence. And so Dr. Leaf advises for us to have silence and thinker moments around 17 to 16 minutes a day throughout the day. But she also mentioned that in this day and age, most people would rather endure physical pain than be alone with their thoughts. And so that is not to shame or scare anyone, but that is to be aware, that
Mm-hmm.
aware of yourself and aware of really, if you're raising little ones or whatever sphere of influence you're in, you know, call that out in people, encourage them in that, and tell them, you know, you're so much smarter than just the things that you're kind of succumbing to, and really your brightest ideas aren't from someone else. It's
Mm,
from it's from within, it's from God. You just got to tap into that.
mm. That resonated with me so much when I read that because our neighbor lost her son and her husband. And she's only a couple years older than me. And she just does not want to be alone in her house. She does not want to
Mm-hmm.
think. She does not want to be alone. And yeah, so I don't know. I just like was like, wow, I love being alone. I love, and I feel like the AO scan, that that's helped me, like just helping to me to just be still. And even before that, just being still and hearing worship music or praying. And that's what, again, God calls us to be still and know that He is God. So
Right.
it's something we really get to have an amazing peace and enjoy that those who don't know God yet and they don't have a relationship personally with Him yet, it's extremely hard to be still because all they hear are other voices in their head. So so thankful for our faith.
Right,
Mm.
right, exactly. And you guys have a lot to say about this. And AOScan has definitely helped me tremendously because I've never experienced just one tool that can truly like do it all. But and I think Caitlin has a lot to say about this. The issue that a lot of people have is they have trapped emotions just kind of
Mm-hmm.
lodged in their biofield, their organs. I mean, you name it, it's just lodged in there. And when people run away from their thoughts and people run away from their emotions, it's because they're really trying to escape the pain. And
Mm-hmm.
so I used to lead groups that talked a lot about, it was trauma recovery. I mean, you understand your trauma story, you understand why you're trying to run away, whether it's from your thoughts or, being a workaholic or whatever a holic
Yeah.
you want to label it. It's numbing the pain, but you face
Mm-hmm.
that trauma, you face that pain, you face that emotion, you silence it, you move that energy, and then you allow God's voice to speak. And so it is really filling a need incorrectly, right? Running away from
Yeah.
things is filling a need. I mean, you want that pain to go away, but you're not doing it correctly. And so I think because we have a tool that is so powerful, right? I mean, inner voice, mind sync, life changing. I mean, we get to really speak so powerfully in that space, not because we're experts, but because, hey, I get it. Like
Yeah.
literally me a year ago or two
Mm.
years ago.
Hmm.
And look at what has helped me, and just check it out, just try it out. Like that buzziness. And I think a lot of times too, what happens is people are so used to that buzziness in their mind. And what I just
Mm.
tell my clients and tell my friends is you don't have to succumb to that buzziness.
Mm-hmm.
You can you have a choice to quiet those thoughts. What do you
I
think?
think
What are
it
some thoughts, Caitlin?
I think it becomes addicting to people. I think it
Mm.
becomes like it's too uncomfortable to not have it, and so they crave it. And it's just, I know I used to always feel like I wanted to be around other people. I wanted to find out what my friends were doing. I wanted to be the social butterfly, but it was really because there was a lot I was trying to escape. It wasn't actually because I was craving these wonderful people. It was I was trying to escape. And if I could have understood this in so many different parts of my life, it would have been transformative to really, I didn't get comfortable with my own thoughts until I found out about releasing trapped emotions and inner voice, and that quieted the noise. Because when we have a trapped emotion of whether it's insecurity or anger or fear or worry, whatever the emotion is, it is constantly vibrating at that frequency. And then if a new thought comes in that triggers that worry, all the trapped emotions within around your body of worry are going to expand and turn into a overwhelming high frequency kind of just state that you're in. And we see this like people who get road rage. One little thing can make them angry and it explodes and they're furious. I don't get angry driving on the road anymore.
Right.
Now, being with my own thoughts and clearing out the noise and taking those thoughts captive, um, it's just such a game changer. But I can relate to feeling this of needing external things to focus on and um, yeah.
I think it's so important to deal with it before you have children, if possible. I saw a lot of parents just running around. They could not be alone with their children. They just wanted to
Mm,
send them to this sports camp, that sports camp, this thing, that thing, off to school, before school, after school. They didn't want to be with their ch it
yeah.
appeared that
I think
because
that's pretty
mm,
normal for a lot of
mm,
people. Um,
that's sad.
and even bringing up kids, I feel like even reading this book. So there's so much I
Yeah.
have to do with my daughter because that's the life I've chosen and the life that I want. But something that I know would have used to drive me insane is if she was coloring in my book and she was coloring next to me and I was reading and she wanted to color in my book and I was able to just let her, I don't know if you can see her handprint. We traced her hand in the book and I was able to reframe my thoughts. Like, this is not ruining my book.
Mm-mm.
I'm going to look back in a few years and this is going to make me happy. Like, we have this ability. It's a superpower that God
And
gave us to reframe every
Mm.
single moment. And the more we can get in the thinker moments, the easier it is in the tough moments. So, yeah, it's just so powerful.
that's so incredible. And I just want to kind of piggyback off of that with chapter 3 and chapter 4. This is where really things get so practical. You know, she throws around all these like scientific terms, but when you really read how she explains it, it is so practical. So the thing that I see so much, even in our conversation now between you, Katelyn, and Debbie, is that how calibrated y'all's right and left brain are. How like you were able to like, you know
Mm.
what? Red crayon, an orange whale in my book. Is it really the end of the world? Like you're able, and really, you know, it takes your left and right brain and your emotions to be so calibrated to have that kind of response. But when you have all this trap stuff in your body, it's so easy to just be like, blah 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 and just blow up, right? And so
Mhm.
chapter 3 talks about the controlled thinking mindset, and then chapter 4 also talks about the words mindset. And so what I
Mhm.
want to piggyback off of the examples that you guys are talking about is we have the ability to control our thoughts. She says every 10 seconds. That's a little obsessive. But I think what she's trying to say
Mhm.
is that look at how empowered you should be. At
Yeah.
any point in time, you can say pause. Now, it's a lot more difficult for people to have control over that just because of, like we said, trapped trauma and stuff. But be encouraged in that. It's not the end. And really, if you keep searching, you're gonna find the answer. You're gonna land on the answer. And so she talks about the quantum principle of superposition. I love this term. I
Yeah.
this has been like one of my favorite words ever since I heard it about 10 years ago. Superposition is this point where you're able to, okay, orange crayon, you know, a red apple in my scientific book, it's not the end of the world. It's really understanding that every 10 seconds we have the ability to sit back and logically and creatively, right brain, think about that situation for what it is and not overreact. And so like I said, I think the reason why she talks about this stuff is to really give hope to people. When I
Yeah.
first read about these principles, it was so far beyond my reality that it made me cry because I'm like,
Mm,
I feel so out of control in my thoughts and in my anxiety. I used to be an endurance athlete. I can't say I'm an endurance athlete now. I used to be, and endurance athletes thrive. So people who have experienced a lot of trauma in their life thrive as endurance athletes. Why? Because when you're an endurance athlete, you learn how to turn off your pain receptors. But what you
mm,
do as an endurance athlete is you continue to run away from that. And there's kind of 50-50 as to is it healthy, is it not healthy? Um, I believe it's not the healthiest because you're just trapping those emotions anyway. Now you look physically healthy, but how is your soul? How is your emotional state, which will
Mm.
eventually catch up with you decades later. And so when I first read this, I was kind of in the middle of all that. I was still functioning as an endurance athlete. And I just kind of thought, why am I doing all these things? Like to be healthy? Okay, I guess. Like my doctor said, your knees are shot, Carmela. You can either continue to do this or work as a hairstylist. You can't do both.
Mm.
And so I was quote unquote healthy to the world standards, but I had to really pause and take an inventory as to why am I really doing this, right? And so that was really the end of the beginning for me, in
Mm.
the best way, because I was able to really confront, okay, do I really want to be healthy or am I running away? And so the controlled mindset, superposition, it's a quantum principle where we get to really control our thoughts every 10 seconds. I want you guys to have hope in that because wherever you're at in your journey, you can take the power back. And then chapter 4, it also
mm.
talks about the it starts to talk about the words mindset. And so this is incredible. I just want to read on page 61. Every time you utter a negative statement, you release negative quantum energy and upset the balance of peptides, which affects the environment of your brain and puts the body in toxic stress. What do you guys have to say about it? Any insight?
Peptides without injections. Yeah. I'd like to just say that use your tools. So if you're watching this and you're stuck in a situation, I like to put a picture in front of me when I'm going to make a phone call to someone I feel obligated to call. I like to put pictures of just something I love, like my family or my grandbaby or words
Olivia
like you'll
Kate all
see
day.
all day, or put the words around you that you see: love, joy, peace, patience. So yeah. Does that make sense? Like to put things in front of you that you're reminded, change my mindset. Because if we have pictures on our wall of some horror movie or some whatever. I
Mm.
don't even know what people have on their walls. But you want to have things. I have pictures of Italy or pictures of, paintings I did before years ago. And I never thought I'd be living in a city with an ocean, but I painted these before and put those around you. It's kind of like living in your vision board, putting words and pictures and things. So when you are getting something negative trying to grab you and steal your joy and change your emotions from, yeah, have the things physically around you that help you. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like
Yes.
a tool.
Yeah. What came to mind when you were talking was I've lived in mold so many times. And in the past, mold would just make me freak out and be so scared. And the thoughts were more toxic than the mold itself.
Right.
And the thing I highlighted in chapter 3 was the personal identities around disease and what you're facing. And I had made Lyme, mold toxicity, lack. I had made all of these things a part of my identity
Mm.
and not been actively trying to change the thought, which we can do, like you said, every 10 seconds. And now when I see mold or I think of mold, I've been retraining, not almost, I almost want to say like gaslighting myself. Like it's not toxic to me. I'm teaching my brain that I'm not going to be affected by mold. I am not going to be affected by Lyme. No matter what they're saying out there about all of these different things being toxic and harmful and deadly, I'm stronger than that. And so I think that we really, I mean, obviously we really can change the brain in how we even respond to toxins and things and pathogens. And I just think that's really cool. And then the quote that I just have that I rewrote out, consciously controlling your thoughts is one of the best ways to detox your brain and body. Everyone wants to detox. Everyone wants to take something, do something. They want to detox. They want to take the tea. Our thoughts. Our thoughts are how to detox. It's so cool.
It's so powerful, but I think the answer is so simple. It's
It
too
is.
simple for people. And they're just like, wait, so what do you, so like, I just changed my thoughts. Like,
Yeah.
it's just too simple for people. And sometimes we overcomplicate things and we kind of get in our own way. And so I wanna stack chapter 5, the controlled emotions mindset, because 3, 4, 5 truly build on each other. And so I do want to say that in chapter 4, she talked about cognitive congruence and cognitive dissonance. And what
Hmm.
you just explained, Caitlin, with your, saying you talking to yourself and saying, this is not going to be what takes me out.
Hmm.
This is not toxic to me. I do not live in fear.
Hmm.
It is whatever it is that you say to yourself. I don't know if you notice that when you do that, you congruently match your emotions.
Yeah.
Because there is a difference between saying, and I'm just going to make a really funny analogy. Like, I am blonde. Like, I am a middle-aged white woman that's blonde. Like, I'm not. I mean, I can just say that to myself all day long, but I am not. But when I
Yeah.
tell myself I'm a brunette, but I like to be blonde, so I color my hair. Okay, the emotions are congruent with the internal voice. And so it's
Yes.
very important when you're doing this and you're doing it with intention to have congruence in cognitive congruence and cognitive and understanding cognitive dissonance, which is like
Hmm.
you're just straight up lying to yourself. And in that gap where there's still a bit of cognitive dissonance is understanding how to bridge it. Okay,
Yeah.
how do I bridge that? And that's really where inner voice comes in. That's where mind sync comes in. And that's when tapping into a higher power. God, I don't feel strong right now. I don't feel this is my truth right now, but I know that it is my inheritance that I have the mind of Christ. So right now I'm
Yes.
hanging on to that truth and just can you just dissipate this cognitive dissonance because there's a gap that I need to bridge. And so
Mm.
Yeah.
the controlled mindset on chapter 5, what I want to say with that, when you rewire neural pathways, it's incredibly, oh, I just said it. It's incredibly important that you attach an emotion to it
Hmm.
because that's what forges it, right?
Yeah.
So whatever you're saying is just sitting on top. When you attach that emotion, it really just like
It's
it
like
really just
roots it.
solidifies it.
Hmm.
Exactly. It starts to grow roots.
Yeah.
um what do you guys think of that?
Mm. Can I jump in?
Yeah.
I just want to say, like, thinking about David and Goliath,
Yeah.
did he just, oh, no, he already had been believing that he could, that with
He
God, he
took
could
down a
do.
lion and he took down a bear. He knew like he
Yeah,
was practicing too.
Right.
right. So I think it's starting with the little things and then just building. And for me, it's just trusting God. What did God say? What is he saying? And then using MindSync to say, yes, I walk in faith. I don't walk in fear. I walk in faith. I trust in God. I trust in the name of the Lord my God, whatever it is. And for this sickness, I saw so many people stuck in that line because of the things we went through with Caitlin, that they could not see themselves outside of that diagnosis. It's like the
Hmm.
whole identity is just stuck. So whatever the problems are in the past, we have to reprogram. So yes, that was a time, but what's our identity now? Just like you were talking about, when we're answering the questions at the end of the book, we're changing, we're fluid, we're not just stuck, we're not stagnant, we're not. I always talk to people and say, you're not a doorknob. Seriously, you're not just like a solid doorknob that needs to be sanitized and taken care. And we are moving and alive. And anyway, just
Yeah.
exciting. Think of David and Goliath.
It is. And this is you've already done this a couple times during this conversation, Debbie, but I think you do it so naturally that it's not even like a thing that, you know, you like talk about, it's that visualization. Like the stories that the Lord gave us in scripture is so real to you, and you see it, you feel it, and you grasp it, that it's like your reality inside. And then and it just sounds like, you know, the way that you talk to people, it comes so fluid that that same power is in you. And so whatever it is that they did, you can do, you can absolutely overcome this whatever label that you have been, you know, minimized to, or really truly what we've accepted. So it's the renewing of the mind and the visualizing yourself, like truly visualizing that Lyme disease. I don't even know how it shows up in the body, but truly visualizing it crumbling out of the body. And like, I think that's so important. And so when we do inner voice and mind sync, I talk about this with my clients, is what is your intention? You really need to pause and just be very intentional in the things that you meditate on, and you see in the spirit, you see in the quantum realm.
Yeah.
And so forgiveness mindset and happiness mindset, I think they're two sides of the same coin. I don't love that she used happiness mindset. We're at chapter 6 and 7. I like joy because I think joy is more anchored. Happiness to me sounds fleeting, but you know, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. And so, if you've done any kind of like deep emotional work, if you've done any kind of trauma work, you want, like, you guys know, forgiveness is the foundation. And what I don't want to do is minimize what it is that you've gone through, because trauma affects every brain and every body differently. What forgiveness is it's really you releasing yourself from having to continuously punish yourself from what happened, because you continue to relive that. And forgiveness also comes with a caveat. It comes with strong boundaries, and it comes with wisdom, right? Forgiveness doesn't mean continued relationship with whomever it is that wronged you in the past. It means understanding the situation for what it is, and really, you know, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And then you just release them, and you don't continue to meditate in that, because whatever you think about in your mind grows. And the more that you get stuck in that, the more you just kind of stay there. I'm sure you guys have some incredible thoughts about this.
Yeah. I know when I was really getting through some deeper layers of healing and I was sitting with the Holy Spirit, I was trying to do like every night, setting aside my time to just listen to the Holy Spirit. And one of the first things I felt him tell me to do was get a pen and a notepad out and start writing down the names of people that I needed to forgive. And I was like, I've already forgiven these people. And I really hadn't. And it took actually visualizing them as a child and saying, I forgive you, I love you, I release you. And going through this list of people, and the amount of freedom that came after that was insane. It
Yeah.
was so insane. And it it is like building a muscle, just like I think she talks about choosing happiness, choosing joy, choosing this different. All of this is like building a muscle. Just like even when I'm teaching people how to muscle test, it's like you're not going to get it the first time. You have to keep, or going to the gym. You're not going to see massive results the first time you go to the gym. You have to keep choosing this every single day. And it's an exercise and it's a practice, and it has to become a lifestyle too. It's not like you can put up a vision board and focus on new things or choose gratitude and forgiveness one day and not continue to choose it every day after.
I agree. It's like a little self-check. Is there anyone or anything or anybody I need to forgive? Because that is so, it's such a game changer. I remember living in Minnesota, stuck in that terrible weather. Sorry. If anybody's stuck there, sorry about that. But it was awful. And Katelyn was born and I was wearing a neck brace and my knees were hurt. I was just, and God revealed to me, is there anyone you need to forgive? Forgive. And healing can come after you forgive. And I remember thinking my sister-in-law, well, they were divorced, but how she wanted my brother-in-law to die. She was so evil. I felt like I just need to forgive her. That's not I'm not God. I can't judge her. And it's just like so freeing. It was I don't remember ever having to wear, it wasn't immediate, but very quickly after that, I was like, oh, my neck is better, my knees are better. And putting that
Mm.
together was like, wow. I remember a similar thing happening when you were like 13, Caitlin, and just the mean girls. The girls are really mean to you. I mean, mean girls. And just you felt, I remember you saying, I just need to forgive them and love them. And answers started coming to us with frequency and energy. To me, it was like, wow, this is like within the same week, we started getting answers. And I needed to just let it go and say, God, this is yours. And it's so freeing. And it does bring joy and it does bring answers. And it's such a release of a burden that isn't ours, that we shouldn't be carrying. And I remember seeing that lightness in you. Just it doesn't matter what those girls say or if they or how they are. It was so beautiful.
Well, and forgiving ourselves too
Oh
is
yeah.
another really
That's a
big
big
one.
one, right?
hmm
Mm,
And then I wanted to just highlight the brain. I highlighted this in the book. The brain works significantly better when you choose to feel happy in the midst of a
mm.
challenge. So again, it's like detoxing your brain. This is a health hack.
It is.
And it's going to translate to your business because when we learn to be happy and enjoy the process of our learning, of creating, posting, sharing, scanning social media, so many times, you know what I hear is people say, I hate social media. I'm not good at sales. I could never sell to anyone. I'm just not, all these thoughts, spinning this back to our business. Um, when you take those thoughts captive and switch it back to learning to love this process of regurgitating the information you're learning about the AO scan or whatever it is, learning how to post on social media and have joy with it, it's going to magnify your results and it's going to actually benefit you and your health, your brain, and your finances.
I love that. And anti-aging. Well, how many older people do you see with all these, if they don't have Botox, they're wrinkled and angry, their face looks angry. It's like, no, forgive, love. It's anti-aging.
Anti-aging.
Before I came across AO scan and this tech and muscle testing, I was introduced to other energy type healing, and I was a previously I was a biofeedback practitioner. I truly saw, and I did like the bulk of my biofeedback clients just gravitated towards me for like trap trauma, um, and releasing trap trauma via evox, and I would see. It was like surgery during 1, 2, 3 appointments where
Mm.
you would just see like things lift, and I would think about like advertising it like as a beauty hack, but that's like a stretch. But I mean, it truly, all that stuff, all that stuff compounds in your face and in your
Mm.
body and in your midsection.
Yeah.
Um, it
Last
really
night, our
does.
group session was releasing trapped emotions from the skin, the hair, the fascia. And people really do. They do see changes in their face structure, in their skin, in breakouts. I've had people tell me they've had like their eye swollen shut and red, and then we released one trapped emotion and it's gone immediately.
I
Like
believe it.
this is all impacting how we look.
I believe it. I believe it. I want to read this. Forgiveness acknowledges the pain and
Mm.
reconceptualizes it, releasing the heavy burden of bitterness and resentment. And
Mm,
so it's really you, whether you're forgiving yourself, you're forgiving someone that wronged you. It's just saying that, man, I don't want to carry that backpack anymore.
yeah.
That's just
That's
way
good.
too heavy a burden to carry. And really, chapter 7, the happiness mindset, I say the joy mindset, that's really where true joy comes in because you're free. You're you're free. You don't have that heavy backpack anymore.
Yeah.
Um, do you guys have any thoughts on the joy mindset, the happiness mindset? That's a good one.
I would just say again, being like a child, where,
Right.
Yeah.
oh, good, I get to pour the milk on the floor.
Right, right.
Oh, this is, or oh, look at the seagull. Oh, I love you, seagull. I love you. Just that joyful, because there's not the trapped emotions or the negative mindset. And I like how she calls it non-conscious. I've always thought of it as subconscious. I don't know if there's a difference really in that, but
Mhm.
it helped me. to think, oh yeah, it's just non-conscious. So the healthy children are joyful. They
Right.
are.
Their inhibition, they have like no inhibitions. They're just like they feel so safe within their body, within the people that are around them. And so they can just like they don't cry over spilled milk. I mean, they don't even really feel sorry for it because they just
No.
understand that it's just not a big deal. And
Yeah.
so she does talk about your conscious, your
Mm.
non-conscious, and your subconscious. And
Okay.
so
I
your
missed that part.
non-conscious, yeah, but a lot of times like when people teach this, they just kind of
Yeah.
do conscious and subconscious,
Yeah.
but she does talk about a realm of non-conscious
Hmm.
that's just we're not we're not aware of, but it's easier to tap into that. But the reason why a lot of people teach subconscious is because that's you really getting deep down into the dirt and you understanding like what generational trauma has been passed down to you, generational thinking. So that's really a lot of the sub. But the non-conscious is when trauma comes in your body, you let all that stuff in and you just kind of let that sit there.
I
Um,
would compare it with like inner voice, how inner voice, the top three we're aware of, and then the fourth we're not. It's like we're in
That's good.
denial of, we've repressed it.
yes,
And on the happiness, is okay to jump in one more time?
Yeah.
yes, yes.
That we need to remember happiness precedes success. And
Mm.
so the trick, so many people are, I think we get hung up on focusing on our goals, and this is where people mess up in their manifestations, is because you have a goal, you want to get to that goal, and you think you will be happy once you reach that goal. But once you switch and choose the joy and the happiness in the present moment, and having joy and gratitude for the things that you're working towards, that's when the magic happens and you actually become magnetic to those things. But if you can't be happy now, every time you're thinking about and working towards those future goals of getting out of a stressful situation, of moving, of more money, of whatever it is, you're going to be pushing it away. And you act like the opposite of a magnet. So happiness and joy and gratitude is something to cultivate now if you want to see success in the future.
That's so good. And not exactly on that point, but I think it just kind of spider webs off of it is the quote in that chapter by Robert Provine. Laughter is the
Mm.
archetypal human social signal and is all about relationships. His research, Provine's research, states that people who laugh are 30 times more people when people are around each other, they are 30 times more healthy. This clearly shows us how entangled we are to each other's quality of life. And so
Mm.
happiness translates to health, translates to magnetism. You really when
Mhm.
you really understand, well, no one really understands quantum physics, but when you really dip your toe in quantum physics, the ether, the quantum realm, the godness, the goodness, you understand that really your joy, your freedom is directly attached to others. You're not doing anyone any favor by playing small, by repeating
Mm-mm.
these lies to yourself that, I can't, I won't, I'm not able. That's just not really kingdom anyway. That's not
Yeah.
scriptural. Our lives are directly attached to others. And so your healing, your freedom, your success, your prosperity is not just for you. It's because you were meant to influence so many lives around you, and there's a higher calling. I want
Yes.
to move forward to the time mindset and the possibilities mindset. So that's chapter 8 and chapter 9.
Mm-hmm.
And so the time mindset talks about really the time and the possibilities mindset. The way that I was able to really like understand this and really grasp it is that at any point in time there's a million possibilities and it's all real and it's all there. It's what you collapse in the superposition, which is what you magnetize, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so your brain is neuroplastic. It takes 63 days to create a neural pathway, and at that point, it becomes a habit, it becomes a discipline. Now you just choose to ride that neural pathway. We are consistently changing. We are transient beings. And so at any point in time, you can rewire your brain. And so that goes along with the possibility mindset of any reality you want is yours. it's what you expect and what you are grateful for, which is chapter 10, the gratitude mindset. What are y'all's thoughts on those?
Wow. And with our biohacking with the hub, I wonder if it's even faster than 63 days. But let's do it for 63 days straight.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
because let's,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I was gonna say was try to
Hmm.
pick your programs and stick to it for 63 days
That's good.
based on this, like RTMS, Hub, MindSync, Inner
Hmm.
Voice. I would do all of that 63 days. Because I think if you have the theta chamber, you can do it in 21 days. That really, because I don't know if you've seen the theta chamber, Carmela.
Oh, I haven't.
If
So
you want,
excited.
if
It's
you're going
only
to do a discovery,
$78,000.
Oh, yeah.
but if you're going early or staying late for Day of Discovery, you can book a session at the Quantum Wellness Center. It's
Okay.
definitely worth trying. It's the hub, but huge. Anyways, yeah, 63 days. Keep going, Mom. Sorry.
No, that's it. Yeah. But
Oh, okay.
it's amazing that we aren't just, I feel like as a child I thought we were just stuck with the brain we had. And I can tell you, I can read faster, I can understand faster, I can grasp more information, I can speed read, I can do things that I thought I was just a regular reader. I thought someone in my family was a slow reader. We're not. We're improving as we age. Like, who does that? It's so cool. So I
Right.
love that our brains have the ability to create new neural pathways that we can't, they are neuroplastic, and that we do affect the people around us. So when you start doing something, you might say, well, my husband, blah, 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 or my spouse or my kids, just do it. Just do it, because there's a trickle effect that they will, when success happens as it's happening to you and you're choosing the joy, your biofield grows. You can't help but affect the people around you. It's so
Mhm.
exciting. It's so amazing. I love it.
It is.
Yeah.
And so you guys are just like spitting out all these like key terms, and it's so awesome and encouraging. And I think about my own journey even like decades ago. I when I experienced trauma when I was younger, it really silenced my voice. And for the longest time, actually, I would speak with a stutter. Like, a lot of it was just like it wasn't clicking in my head. And when I came here from a different country, I didn't know how to speak conversational English. It's difficult when you think in a different language and you're trying to now be in a country where you're supposed to sound normal, and conversational English isn't proper English. And so my family, we had to learn that. That was really difficult for me. So I would speak with a stutter, or I would just wouldn't speak at all. And I just internalized
Mm.
that, I wasn't blah, blah, blah enough. Right. And when I was a teenager, I was told that I had symptoms of bipolar, and there's a lot that goes in that. I think it was definitely misdiagnosed. Thank God my dad never put me on medication, but I think it was some form of neurodivergence, which I think like is in my family. I see it in my family line. And so there were just all these things that happened. I struggled a lot with college. I joke about it. I'm like, you know how people are like, I'm the first in my family that graduated college. I'm the first in my family that did it. Well, my family members all have like masters, they're doctors, and I'm like entrepreneur, creative entrepreneur. And so all that to say, that's not to just be like, oh, look at me, woe is me. No, that's not to say that, but for those decades, I believed I was less than. And when I started
Mm.
putting these things into practice before AOScan and all these incredible tools, AOScan really accelerated me. But I was seeking and I was searching. I mean, it's incredible what the brain is capable of. And that's really the message that Dr. Leaf talks about all the time. She was a pioneer in her time. She was being told by her colleagues, "You're crazy. The mind is not separate from the brain. The brain cannot be rewired." And she just bulldozed that. And thank God for pioneers like her, because it just gave so much of us hope. And now we get to talk about our own stories and really even tell people, hey, with these tools, we can even help you accelerate that. This is not medical advice. These are not medical tools. They're therapeutic in nature, but what they absolutely are is life changing. I know that
Mhm.
specifically from my own experience. And so keep using your tools. It's incredible. Do you guys want to
Absolutely.
piggyback off of that? Any other final thoughts on those chapters?
Wow. Well, congratulations and praise God. And that's amazing. Yeah. And I think you were rescued from not having to go to college or graduate or whatever. I don't know. I just look at, because then it seems like people then also can get in the mindset of, I'm a doctor. I'm this. I don't need to learn anymore. No, we're entrepreneurs. We're creative thinkers. We want to keep learning and I mean, it's just devastating when people are stuck in their box that is not yeah. So thank you for not going down that road.
Well, what really I think worked in my favor was that it was really the traditional setting of college that it was not clicking up here for me. But what I did do is I've gotten a lot of certificates. I've gotten a lot of like
Same. Yeah.
certified holistic natural,
Yes.
biofeedback, all that, those certificate programs that are more self-paced, because I just realized, and what we're about to get into is that we all think very differently.
Yes.
Okay. And there is intelligence in that, and there is just creative magnificence in that. So wherever you are in your journey, keep learning. Your brain is
Yes.
neuroplastic, and your capacity is so much more than it's just so much more.
That's right.
Chapter 12 talks about community mindset. That really the way that I kind of want to bridge that is really what you have the world needs. What you have
Hmm.
is necessary for the world's vibration to raise. Separation is an illusion, so is fear. Love and authenticity are the highest frequency. Quantum entanglement is actually the realest reality. I don't know if that's a word,
That's so
but
good.
that's like when I was writing that down, I was like, the realist reality. That just feels so real because I just so believe in that. And so community, we were meant to be in community. It's associated with mental health, cognitive resilience, reduction of chronic pain, lower blood pressure, improved cardiovascular health. And so we are constantly interacting with each other's biofield. Even now, we're, a few states away, a few time zones away, but we're all interacting with each other's biofield, and we're all strengthening each other in that.
Mhm.
And so I get asked all the time, Carmela, where's the science? Where are the measurables? And I get that because I come from a very like my family's background is they're very logical thinkers, they're engineers, they're doctors, they're and I am so grateful for that because they challenge my creative mind every day. And I got to be like, yeah, where is the science? Like this all feels really good in me, but where are the measurables? And so they were able to measure, your blood flow, your HRV, your ATP production, all that is all measurable. And so whenever we talk about all of our quantum tools, there's actually science out there that proves when you do all this, when you raise your frequency, when you raise your vibration and you change your mindset through all this stuff that we're doing, the mind stuff and also like the AO scan stuff, it affects your physical body.
Mhm.
Truly, truly.
And all her
Mm,
science in the back too. Like there's so
So
many
much research.
references.
There you go.
wow. It's so good. And then
Oh,
the photography, what is it? Kirlian photography, and then the biofield and all of the things, at these biohacking conferences we go to, you can see picture when somebody puts their thumbprint. Um, you can see the energy of the body. Kirlian photography, seeing a leaf, if you cut off part of the leaf, the energy is still there. Think of phantom, like if a limb is not there, but the person feels it is, and it's so amazing. It's so awesome. And I just thank God for making us energy. If He really said, let there be light, and there was light, and then He made us in His image. And who can really understand light? Just like you were saying, who can really explain quantum? Who can really no, it's like it's so much more than we ever expected to learn about who he is, how much he loves us, and he wraps himself in light. And we're getting to use light to help us heal, to help our bodies heal, to help raise our vibration, to help our minds with chromotherapy, to it's amazing. Okay, so I don't know how I got sidetracked on that, but it's so true that we need community. And that the people around us do affect us, but we also are affecting those around us. So we might not feel like they're at the same level, or what, someone that might be on a lower vibration, we can still help affect them and then still protect, I don't know. How do you feel about that? Like, do you still go around people that you are kind of draining and just keep it really limited? But we need community, so I don't know
This
your.
is how I've learned. Oh, go
Hmm.
ahead, Caitlin.
Oh, I didn't say anything, but
Oh, sorry.
I have another thought when you guys are
Yes.
done with this one.
This actually trickles into chapter 12, the support mindset. Under the principle of quantum entanglement, your healing and health, I already talked about this, is directly attached to others. So when you help someone in need, you increase your own healing factor by 63%. And so, how do we walk
Amazing.
in wisdom with that? We walk in wisdom by understanding that, okay, I'm over here, I'm doing my quiet time, I'm strong in the Lord, I'm doing all my mind sync, inner voice, scanning myself, and then I go out into the world. I go out into the world and like I go back into the same environment where I was traumatized and unhealed. But because I was so strong, I think that's where I just belong because I'm influencing everyone. If you think about a person on stage, visualize this. A person's on stage and that person is leveled up, high vibration, and there's a person below. When you think about, them holding hands, who has leverage? The person
Mm,
below. Like it doesn't matter how strong that person is, I have leverage. So I'm
mm,
going to pull that person down. And so I think just having that in the back of our mind,
Hmm.
walking in
hmm.
wisdom in that, yes, God does call us to be in circles where we are to influence and minister to others, but we got to make sure we're prayed up. Our vibration is high, and we also have to make sure that we are in circles where we are being edified, we are being challenged, and we're not the smartest one. I've
Amen.
always told my son, I have two stepsons and a 20-year-old son. I've always told my 20-year-old son, it's always a good idea to be in the room where you're not the smartest person. It's okay
Hmm.
to be silent. It's okay to learn because you're going to glean from all these people and it's just going to make you a better person. You're going to walk in wisdom in that. And so I think balancing that and really as you get healthier, you're going to have discernment in what circles God calls you in to minister, to influence, but also to know, okay, this is my limit. Like I gotta go raise my vibration up again
Yeah.
because this is,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That reminds me of what I was going to talk about with both these chapters, talking about community and the support mindset, is we have this tool of social media where we can be creating community and support for others and pulling them up with a boundary. And
Yes.
that's where my business shifted so much and where I was able to get out of a toxic environment with toxic clients I had attracted. I had a full load, fully booked clientele of people who were draining me and exhausting me and keeping me totally just low vibration. And when we can switch, maybe primarily social media isn't for everyone, but it is a tool that I think everyone can use and cultivate to be pouring into multitudes of people. You can be pouring these types of concepts, the things that you have to share,
Yeah.
into others and have such a huge influence on the world. And just to be using that and to be thinking of social media in that way.
Right, right. Healthy boundaries. That goes all the way back to the forgiveness chapter, right? Forgiveness doesn't mean this just like open allowance. It means boundaries in every aspect, moving in discernment and moving in wisdom. So that puts me to chapter 13, healthy stress mindset. I think when people start, this is what I saw with my Evox clients, when the clients that I help release emotional trauma, trap trauma, they just kind of thought that they were just going to put themselves in a Faraday cage. Like, I'm just going to just be so protected, my peace, my peace. But the reality is your God made your body so strong and resilient. You were made to thrive in healthy stress,
Yeah.
right? Healthy stress, just enough to push you out of your comfort zone in order for you to learn and to grow. It's like a muscle. What happens
Hmm.
when you lift weights? You you blast those muscles and then and then you recover and you do active recovery and then those muscles boom grow bigger. And so I think teaching people that, as you grow your business, as you grow your clientele or your coaching business, is you are made to handle healthy stress. Like we're on a journey of healing, not to just kind of be locked up at home all the time, but for you to influence others and for you to kind of learn how to balance that. And really, truly, once you start doing this stuff, you're going to have so much energy. You're going to be so dynamic and vibrating at such fast speeds that you're going to want to be around people and you're going to want to influence people in that way. So, I want to read this. This was really incredible. If you face a difficult situation with a glass half full attitude, the blood vessels around your heart dilate. Increased blood flow results in increased oxygen flowing to the brain, which in turn increases your cognitive fluency and clarity of thought. That is, your ability to not only face a challenge, but to overcome it. This increased blood flow also balances the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, allowing a number of neurophysiological and genetic processes to work for you, fueling intellectual growth. A genetic switch will be turned on inside the hippocampus of your brain, which strengthens your body, allowing you to cope in a difficult situation. So that's how you manage healthy stress.
Incredible. And worrying about stress will actually put your body into toxic stress.
Exactly. Oh, just FYI. You have that in the back of your mind.
It's such a different mindset. Because I think when I first got into all of this, I really was feeling like I just wanted to remove myself from all stress completely. I wanted to be in a bunker, like you said, put myself in a Faraday cage. And as I've healed more and more, I have gotten these desires to push myself and stretch myself and do different things. And it is life-giving. It's fueling. And if we don't have that balance, there's a very clear line of where people get stuck in just being in a healing loop. And they're so protected and they're so stuck in all they're doing is healing and they're not doing anything to grow. And they're still having symptoms because they're not having any healthy stress. Have you seen that pattern?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is one of the main reasons why I felt a responsibility to close my Evox practice, because I was helping people heal from various addictions only to be addicted to Evox. I'm like, okay, this is making me money. I'm not doing you any justice. Like, you're coming in, you're booking all these things, but now your addiction shifted to coming in and coming to see me, where the whole point of bioenergetic is that it works faster and it gets into the root cause in order for you to be like, bye. You don't need to be dependent on me. And so I want to bridge that into chapter 14 with expectancy mindset. I think cutting that loop means really holding people accountable in their healing, meaning really, you're at a point where you are strong enough to experience healthy stress. And so now I need you to expect that you will be healthy when stress comes, because people get stuck in the loop of, oh, when stress comes, I gotta experience therapy again, this type of therapy or that type of therapy. And really, it's just not understanding your identity, that God made you to function in wholeness and strength in order for you to move in wholeness and strength and peace and love and joy into the world, not into this like your house and like, your practitioner's office in your house. So it's that expectancy. What do you expect after you do the bulk of your healing? I expect to be strong and I expect to influence others, versus, well, I just always kind of just expect to be this way and this is how it's just going to be. That's a really strong statement. And I don't know. I mean, this is the first class that we've done together, Katelyn, but that's really how I cut through the muck and the mire with my clients. Is I really just kind of tell them. I feel it's empowering. It's definitely a harsh truth to metabolize and to process, but we need to expect to be strong in order to influence others. Whatever you expect, you magnetize, you eventually manifest into your reality.
I have to acknowledge both you and Caitlin for having that same mindset. That one of the reasons I think Caitlin wanted to stop doing massage or lymphatic enhancement and doing the in-person and biofeedback, bioresonant, all of that, is because she wanted the clients, the patients to go, don't be dependent. You guys are like, okay, if anybody, you guys are watching this and you do Solex and you help people with different therapies, these are the type of practitioners we want. We want to have people that want to really see people set free, healed, empowered, and not dependent. Do you know how many practitioners I run into? And they are intimidated that we might actually be empowering people because then they
Yeah.
won't be dependent on them. So it's the practitioner having the expectancy mindset also. The parents having the expectancy mindset, the
Yeah. Does your
spouse
doctor
having that,
expect you to get well?
each one of us having that expectancy mindset is so critical that I expect this. And oh, it's so cool. Okay, yeah, I'm fired up. Let's go. Let's go
Well,
help
but
people.
that's what's so powerful about
Mm,
you with your clients, Mom, is every person that you're coaching, you are expecting to see them get better. You know that when they purchase this from you,
they will.
they are going to get better. And
Hmm.
that's really powerful in sales too. If you don't believe in the product that you are selling, how in the world is anyone else going to believe you? You have to expect, I know for a fact that if someone buys anything that I talk about on my social media, they will see results if they do their due diligence and use it.
Right,
I
right.
expect to see the testimonies rolling in. And in the past, when I struggled with sales, I struggled to believe that this would work for them. I wasn't having an expectancy mindset that, yeah. Does that make sense? I'm trying to tie it back into what I
It
was thinking
does.
about.
It does. It's really the reality that you create in your mind, which which you collapse in the physical,
Yeah.
right? And that's what this entire conversation is about. That's what this entire book is about. What do you create in here? Because the possibilities are endless. And
Hmm.
you know what? I think a shift that happened too in my practice is that I started arguing with clients. I stopped arguing. I stopped
Mm.
arguing with clients, meaning like, hey, listen, if that is your reality,
Mhm.
I can't win. I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
win.
Yeah.
But whenever you're ready to really tap into, this is not medical advice, but to tap into the body is capable to heal and regenerate, and that is
Hmm.
my real, and I will do my due diligence and check all my boxes, then hey, we have a lot of conversations to finish because there's just so much. And so what is it? What is it that you're expecting? Because whatever
Yeah.
you expect, it will absolutely surely happen.
Are you
Mm.
expecting more bills?
Ah,
Are you
man.
expecting to get paid? Are you expecting to have more
Mm.
hardships come? Are you expecting,
Yeah.
what do you, yeah. In every single area, I would encourage everyone to do a inventory. Start
Yes.
writing down what are the things what are you expecting tomorrow morning? What are you expecting in your mailbox? What are you expecting to drive next year? What, like, switch it. Start taking inventory and change what, yeah. Does that make sense? Like that
Yeah.
can be a
Yes.
version of a vision board.
You have a
Writing it
package here, by
down.
the way. Somebody sent you a present to my house. I mean, what?
That's from
Speaking of
Jen.
expectancy, so
Thank you, Jen.
when I first got into AO scan, I just kind of I found Katelyn, and I just say that the Lord just kind of merged our paths, and it was a
Yeah.
Sunday, and I texted her like 20 things, and at the very end of it I was like, okay, I signed up. It was just, I guess I was having a conversation with myself, but I didn't give her time to even respond. It was just like, and then I had all these questions, and and then I just, okay, I signed up. It was just, I was so ready in my life to expect the more. I'm
Hmm.
like, Lord, I miss bioenergetic healing. Put me back in it, put me in, coach, I'm ready. And so it magnetized that reality. And since then, it has been life changing. The theme of my life has been abundance ever since we just moved into a new house 3 months ago. And so I was just like, Lord, abundance. I want it. I want it
Yes.
all. I want it all. And I'm going to lay it all at the altar.
Yes.
Since then, money has been rolling in. And when I say that, that is not at all to be like, look at how cool we are. But that is just like, I just said abundance. Whatever
Yes.
that looks like, I'm game. A few weeks ago, we got a $4,800 check in the mail. Like, hey, you overpaid 11 years ago. We've been trying to find you. Here's $4,800. I moved several times in the last 10 years, and that check found us. And we put our house, we moved into this new house. We had another house. We put that house up on the market. Actually, before it was on the market, it was already technically sold. They were like, this house is not going to go anywhere. We got cash, give it to us. And we sold it before it was on the market. Within 8 days of closing, we had cash. And we've had a couple more big checks come in, just like refund, rebate. I'm just like, where is this? God has been so good. And it has been truly a discipline of gratitude, expectancy, and open handedness of like, hey, you are entrusting me with this, Lord. What do you want me to do with it? Because I know this isn't for my family to hoard. So whatever you give me, as women, our feminine energy is to multiply. I know it's not just women in this, but I am a woman, so I'm speaking. My platform is that right now. But if you are a woman, I'm telling you, your one of the jobs that God gave you is to multiply. So that's biblical. It's you can see all the stories back that up.
Yeah.
So whatever God has given me, I've just said, multiply this, Lord. And I believe it is my obedience in that mindset that God was like, okay, here it is, here it is. And it's just been mind-blowing the last 3 months. And I've shared some of it on my platform, but I mean, it just feels like I'm just bragging so much if I share too much. And so I'm trying to use wisdom in how much I share, but please be encouraged in that and keep the expectancy mindset and the gratitude mindset, because you are a spiritual being and everything starts in here and in the quantum. And
I
so
think
that
it's
was, yeah, go ahead.
so important for you to be sharing, and so important that we all share these abundance wins that we are having, because I mean, just like we're wired for love, we are wired for abundance. There's nothing in the universe that points to anything otherwise. Energy is ever abundant. Everything in the universe that God made is in abundance. And if we're not walking in abundance, there's a disconnect. There is something that we need to like yield and bring into alignment with his will. And part of it is so much of the expectancy. It's one of the manifestation things that people teach. If you want to create a new reality, if you want to attract abundance, expectancy is one of those non-negotiable things. It,
Period.
it's really cool.
It is. It's so exciting. I feel like I'm on this never ending roller coaster in Disney World, and I'm like buckled in because it's so awesome, the things that God is revealing to me. And my husband, who is like your very typical guy in construction, been in construction for 20 years, he's like, okay, I don't understand this quantum stuff, but it's working. And so keep sending the energy. And he's just like, he's all in, because and I don't have to prove anything to him because he
Yeah.
sees it manifest in his life and the way that God is shifting him. It's really incredible. And so do you want to keep going with section 2? I know I want to be sensitive with time and everything.
Let's see. It's 11:45. What do you think, Mom?
Do we need to do a part 2? Or can we wrap it up in like 15 minutes?
Could
Or
we
what do you
just
think?
skip ahead to the part 2 and just tell us your most important stuff? Should we just
Yes.
try to do it quick? And
Yeah.
okay, let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, so I just want to say we just finished the principles of section 1. Section 2 really is when it gets super exciting. That's when you get to that's when you get to know what your gift profile is. So if you haven't read the book or you don't have it, purchase it. Katelyn has a link. The gift profile tells you how you learn, how you think, how you learn, how do you absorb information, and how that translates into the world. When this gave me so much freedom, because when I saw that I was a kinesthetic learner and I was an interpersonal learner thinker, I was like, man, that's why things came so easy when I would touch stuff and I would talk to people. This was my intelligence. And so I want to encourage you in that. You have a very specific creative intelligence. Take the test. It is so cool and so freeing. And it's transient. So as you grow as a human being, that's going to grow. So go back to it often. What are your thoughts on it, Katelyn?
I would say if you have a spouse, have your spouse do the test too and talk about it. I read through this, I did it myself, and after talking it through with my husband, who, we've been together 10 years this year, so we know each other, it was really even eye-opening and dug deeper into the way we understand each other, just having a conversation. So people in your life, I would do this with them too. That's my my little recommendation. But it really, just like you said, it's empowering. It makes you realize like, oh, well, that makes sense. For me, I'm the opposite. The kinesthetic sensory one was my lowest score. And so for me, it was more music and intuition, and then intrapersonal. I'm curious what everyone on the team, what your guys' is too. So maybe when the recording is uploaded, you guys could comment what is your gift profile. You could also throw it in the chat here on the webinar. But yeah, it's really eye-opening. And I think it helps us look at the way we move forward with everything we want to see success with in our life and how to come at it.
Right. I think it's really interesting to have your spouse do it and the people that are really close to you, because then you get to tap into their strengths.
Yeah.
And this is something that I've been trying to get better at with the way that I communicate and the way that I, kind of exist with my husband. Is I just, when he asks me to do something, I'm like, that's not in my wheelhouse. That's not in I'm not strong in that. I believe in you. You're strong in that. Or when he's trying to do something and I just know that is my strength, I tell him, this is in my wheelhouse. Let me take over. I think it's really important to understand in your sphere of influence what the strengths are in your sphere of influence, because then it's like, okay, we're putting you in, or, you get to just edify people in that way too, and you just get to connect with people that way. You know that this is their strength. And so people love talking about themselves. And so you just, you ask them, you ask them more about themselves. And so they're able to really kind of, as people are talking, they get to find out more about themselves. So that's how you edify others. So I highly encourage that. It's very, very encouraging. Chapter 21, I do want to talk about. So going back, the gift profile, read that, read it slowly. It's one of the coolest tests ever that you will take. Chapter 21, talks about the fact that this is when you want science, this is it. Chapter 20, 21, 22. It talks about the memory. It talks about, geodesic information processing theory. It talks about really like the quantum side of all the practical stuff that we had already talked about. But I want to end this conversation with this. You think faster than the speed of light. Okay? In the quantum reign, you are in quantum position at any point in time. So I want to stop. One of the last things I want to say is that whatever you take away, just understand that the way that you're processing the world is at such fast speeds. Your eye gates, your ear gates, your mouth gates, it's all absorbing information. And so A, be cautious, but B, use that to your advantage, right? Because once you understand how fast you process stuff, then it's like, hey, maybe I'm under challenged. That's why I'm not succeeding in life. I'm not thinking how God made me. Therefore, I'm not learning how God made me. Therefore, I'm not succeeding in the realm that God wants me to succeed. So in the quantum reign, you are always in quantum position. All the realities that you can think of already exist. What do you expect? What do you magnetize? Because that's what you're going to manifest. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
That's really...
Can you explain the quantum reign to everyone in another way?
And then after you do that, there is one question. If we could have a practical habit or exercise from the book that people could start this week.
Oh, awesome.
Man, so
Is
many.
that too much?
No, it's not.
Just
it's
go
really,
for it.
really, it's really exciting. And so the way that she explains quantum rain clouds, it's basically, it's this conceptual space that just kind of exists outside of you, that you're basically a supercomputer, right? Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this. It's just very like Matrix and all those movies, by the way, like they were onto something. So everything that you think everything that you can conceptualize, what your phone can do, what your, most expensive laptop computer can do, it is, it pales in comparison to what's going on in here, right? And so when she talks about the quantum rain, she talks about this cloud that exists within your consciousness that is so untapped, that is so big, and it's connected to everyone and connected to the ether and connected to God, that in order for you to take control of it, you have to understand that everything already exists in that state of consciousness. And so all you have to do is pause, right? Quantum superposition, pause every 10 seconds. What do I want? What do I want to see? What do I want to see in the now, in the 6 months, in the 5 years, in the rest of my reality? And so that's what you want to tap into, and that's basically what you want to grasp. And so when you start to strengthen those neural pathways, it eventually becomes a discipline in your neural pathways, and so it becomes automated. Like that's just kind of what you gravitate towards. What were some of your thoughts about the quantum rain, Katelyn?
It was one of the things that just felt so, it like just ties it all together. And it made me think of the 100th monkey effect. Have you heard of that?
No.
So there was, I'm going to butcher the story. I have it saved somewhere on my page, but basically there were scientists who were giving sweet potatoes to monkeys and they would throw them in the dirt. And there was multiple islands with these monkeys. On one of the islands, the monkeys figured out to wash the sweet potato in water to make it taste better. Now, one monkey figured it out on this island and then taught it to another one and then taught it to another one on the one island. By the time it got to 100 monkeys, the scientists started noticing that on the other islands, the other monkeys somehow all of a sudden knew how to wash the sweet potato. They didn't have to teach each other one at a time. And so that's kind of like the concept. Whether that story is true or not, I cannot find the actual source, but it explains it so beautifully that it is our duty to step into our calling, our most authentic self, what God has for us for prosperity. God is calling each and every one of us to step into this potential, because when one of us does it, it's connecting and it is making waves, and it's going to make things click faster for other people on the other side of it. So when we're stepping into this calling and we're stepping into all this stuff you're teaching us, and I mean, it's just it affects, what's the word for that? A magnitude of people. It's huge.
It reverberates. It absolutely
Yes.
reverberates. That's yeah. So when she talks about the quantum range, she talks about like different aspects of it. And so I think what you're tapping into, which is really the basis of AO scan and bioresonance, is that quantum entanglement. It's like, what even is that? Like how did that even happen, right? And so this is the same as like, I'm at work and I'm doing my thing, and then like I'm like, I should probably call my husband, and then he calls me. I mean, there's just something that happens in the quantum that
I texted you this morning.
Yes, and I was like this. When you texted me, I was like this. I was about to text. So there's something that happens at ridiculous speeds that we can't even humanly explain because we are so connected. And so to your point, Debbie, what is something that I want to challenge everyone with? I want to challenge everyone with the realization and the knowing of the greatness in you. And so what does that mean? That's really where it starts. That really is where, honestly, everything that you touch starts, is understanding that you were made for so much, and also seeing the parameters of your limiting beliefs, meaning like, okay, so where can I see the inventory of where I am limited? Is it relationships? Is it finances? Is it knowledge? Is it creativity? And so I think once you start to see the parameters of your limiting beliefs, you get to really start to work on it, and you get to really categorize it in your brain. Okay, so it's business. So I'm going to focus. There's something I'm believing about business. And so there's something I'm believing that is not allowing me to push through to that next level. And so she talks about the metacog. I don't know if you guys saw that or
Mhm.
you practice that, that's really where it starts. When you metacog an idea, this is the space in my life, relationships, right? Friendships, familial relationships. This is the space in my life where I want to see more abundance. I'm going to metacog that. And so reference back to the book as to how to metacog. That is my challenge. Do the metacog way of thinking, because it's so effective. It just pops off really fast. And then at that point, you get to put all the principles that we talked about in place. And at that point, you're able to not partner, but you're able to use your AO scan and the technologies that you have, along with the Metacog way and the quantum principles that she taught. And so understanding where your limiting beliefs are, facing yourself in the mirror and just being very honest with that, and ensuring that that voice is not filled with shame, because
Mm,
nothing productive ever happens in that voice.
yeah.
Mm, so good. Wow. Thank you, Carmela, so much. Katelyn, you have one more thing?
And I would just throw in to highlight the switch on your brain 5-step learning process
Mm,
as you guys are learning, because uh, especially when it comes to sharing content, this you sharing content is actually going to help you learn what you're learning. If you want to understand something more, regurgitate it and share it with someone else too. And social media is a great place to do that.
which I love the scripture that says, be doers of the word, not hearers only. And it's the same thing. It's the same pattern. I drank all my water. I gotta go get more. It's
And
the
how to,
same pattern with this, right? Do it.
yes,
Do it.
and how to create a metacog is on page 191.
Okay.
Thank you, Carmela. That
Yay!
Thank
was
you
incredible.
guys.
Thank you, Caitlin and Carmela.
This was
Thank you
so
all so
good.
much for tuning in. Thank you, Debbie, for hosting, and Katelyn as well. And we'll talk to you
Yes.
guys soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a
Thank you
great day, everyone.
guys.
Thank you.